Well, Phil, 2 games in and 2 very different tests of character, really.
Oh, good question to start off with. It's one thing I've thought long and hard about. What the players showed on Saturday was uncharacteristic. If you think back to the games that we've lost last season, first thing that Kitty supporters were saying, first thing that anybody that was connected with the football club was saying, as soon as we go a goal behind, you might as well go home. And I just couldn't believe that mentality. I couldn't believe that thought process. You are going to concede goals. As soon as you go a goal behind, you press the reset button. I've said that every day since I've been here, and I will continue to do that all through my career. You press the reset button. What does that mean? Go back to basics. Go back to what gets you a clean sheet. Do the hard things, the hard yards, as it were. And consequently, we went two goals behind, and to win the game 4-2. And the character in the manner in which we did was nothing short of brilliant. And then we go to Hartlepool, one of my old haunts, which will probably visit quite a few, as you can imagine, in my time at Kidderminster. And Hartlepool on a wet and windy, and it has to be said windy, dear me, Tuesday night is not an easy place by any stretch of the imagination. You're right on the North Sea coast, howling a gale, 100-mile-an-hour winds. I'm asking the boys to head it. When it's in the air, commit to the header. I mean, it's going 50 yards over your head. It was just phenomenal to actually play in them kind of conditions. But the resilience that we showed towards clean sheet, first and foremost, against the side that were quite clever with the ball, I thought. They kept the ball on the ground, or at least they tried to. But we committed to it, and we committed to a clean sheet in the first half. Now, I thought that was the stumbling block. I thought if we get to half time, level 1-1, 0-0, hopefully 0-0, and then we'll have a good chance of winning the game, because we'll be on the front foot, we'll be playing in the opposition's half for the majority of the game. And that's the way it transpired. And whether it was a cross or a shot doesn't matter to me. It went in the back post, because I think Ash Hennings is clever enough to put a ball into the far post area, knowing full well that it's got the trajectory. If it does go out of play, if you like, it'll be creeping into that back post area. And at some stage I was expecting it, I must admit. Not as early as the second game, but at some stage I was expecting it. Everyone was telling me Amari got a touch on it. He's claiming he got a touch on it. Ash is denying that. He's saying, no, it's his goal and I'm giving it to Ash. Much as I'd like to say the number 9 scored the winning goal. But yeah, testament to the changing room mentality, testimony of character, testimony of a change of voice, I suppose, myself and Neil MacDonald. And a little change of system, or whatever you want to call it. But systems don't win games on a Tuesday night at Hartlepool 1-0. Hearts, Brian Clough, how many hearts you got on the team bus? Absolutely, we had 11 hearts playing, pumping readily as well, and 1 or 2 coming off the bench as well to boot. So yeah, great test of character for 2 games of football, but another one coming on Saturday. Dagenham and Redbridge, never going to be easy. Big, strong, direct, if you like, but can play as well. But beatable at home. They have a home record, which is saying that there's 1 or 2 things have gone wrong this season at home, and maybe that we can exploit. I don't know. It's going to be a tough game, no doubt about it, and probably another and different test of character.
A lot of travelling this week as well, and sometimes that's overlooked, isn't it, by fans? I think it was about 20 to 4, the bus got back here from Hartlepool, and then you've got to balance the rest and recuperation with training, presumably, so there's a lot of thought goes into this before you go another long trip to Dagenham.
Well, if the 55 that travelled on the supporters bus, or however they got there, are going to Dagenham and Redbridge, just bring your slip, bring your ticket with you, because if you've got both of them, you definitely get the pint off me. It was phenomenal to see that many, and 55 people may be asking the question, what are you about? It's 4.5, 5 hours minimum to go and watch a game of football, which was quite simply brutal. And we rewarded them, everyone, to a man, to a woman, to a child that was in the stand, up front and personal, right close to them. I think the players at Kitty are fantastic. They understand what the supporters go through. The supporters understand, I think, from that moment that I witnessed on Tuesday night, what the players are going through as well. So there's a mutual coming together on Tuesday, and then 55 are at Dagenham Redbridge on Saturday. It'll be phenomenal. But again, another 4-hour journey. And I thought Birmingham was the centre of the country. I thought, honestly, Kidderminster Harriers, everyone's telling me we're that close to Birmingham, we're that close to West Bromwich, Wolverhampton, this, that and that. Oh, I said, it's only been a couple of hours up to the northeast, a couple of hours across to London. But everywhere's a distance, so it's part and parcel of life at whatever level. It doesn't matter. I've done work for the BBC, and I've done some commentary in Premier League football, and I remember actually criticising, who am I to criticise, don't get me wrong, Pep Guardiola for complaining about the distances that they were travelling and coming back from Newcastle and going down to Wolverhampton on a Wednesday and a Saturday or a Tuesday and a Friday and complaining about the fixture pile up, and whoa, hold on a second, that's like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and by the way, they were flying to the game, so it was less than an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm thinking, you want to try and bring in Kidderminster Harriers manager? And I've only been in the job 10 days. No, it's part and parcel of life in the lower leagues in particular, because the budget is tight, and you probably only got a bus journey and no pre-match meals sometimes. We cut our cloth accordingly at the moment. We're trying to be as professional as we possibly can. We did actually stop for a pre-match meal in Middlesbrough, and we'll be doing the same, going across to Kidderminster Harriers, across to Dagenham Redbridge. But at the same time, preparation is important, and getting the legs up on Wednesday was a no-brainer. Even doing a second day, and I sometimes complain about we're a little bit soft on the modern day player, but second day, if you want to call it warm down recovery, was important today. The players did a little bit with regards to the formation. Haven't named the team yet, but when I name the team tomorrow, I'll be able to work at that formation a little bit better, hopefully on a decent piece of grass, and then we'll be prepared for third game in a week. And if we can put our best foot forward like we have done in the last two, then who knows?
Ahead of the Aldershot game, and given the form when you came in, I looked at it and thought, well, I was being optimistic. If you could take 6 points out of the next 9, and let's face it, you need wins, I thought that would be a really good return. Well, you're there already, really. If you can get the right result on Saturday, you're off and flying.
I think we're, without jumping the gun, I think, you've got to keep on putting a marker down in your career, and every game's a marker. It measures you as a person, it measures your team in terms of quality, it measures character. How it measures character, I just don't know, because at the end of the day it's 1 or 3 points, or you get beat and you get your backside spanked and you come home on the bus and you feel sorry for yourself, but you get on with it, but that's the test of a footballer. But when you've been in the game 45 years, you think to yourself, been through all that, and these players need to know what I've been through, and all I'm doing is imparting a little bit of my experience, if you like, on the players. They're buying in, I have to say it, they're buying in abundance, and it's a real pleasure to stand up and talk to them. It's a real pleasure to coach them. It's a real pleasure at the moment to work with them. And I don't want to sample defeat. I don't want to sample what it feels like, it's one of them where you've won 2 out of 2, you want to keep on going. So you're right in what you're saying. I probably at the start of the week would have probably took the same, but that's gone now. We're starting another week, and we've got 2 games. We've got this one, and we've got a home game against Oxford City, one of our nearest rivals. So again, we're pitching in. We're trying to put a marker down at Dagenham and Redbridge and saying to everybody that we're a different Kidderminster Harriers. Not being disrespectful to the previous guys, we're just a different Kidderminster Harriers because we've won a couple of games. We're playing with a little bit of confidence, a little bit of belief in the system, a little bit of belief in the player next to you. Sometimes you lose faith and in the team that you're playing with and the people that are around you. You don't have to. There's always room for improvement. There's always room for self-improvement, and I think the players are working hard towards that at the moment.
Given it has been 3 games in a week, are you like to rotate things a bit, because obviously it's fairly demanding?
I think, we want to try and keep a happy squad if we can do, but a happy squad is a winning squad. So to go wholesale change after committing what we've committed, the two games that we've committed to make wholesale changes would be a little bit harsh on 1 or 2 players. Certainly, players that are not, shall we say, young, a little bit long in the tooth, like myself. Struggled to get to bed before 4 o'clock on Wednesday morning, and my son got me up at 6 o'clock on Wednesday morning. I'm sure it was the same day. But it would be remiss of me not to look at the numbers, and whether the numbers are age, or whether the numbers are distance, or whether the numbers are sprint distance. It would be remiss when them numbers are in front of you, seeing that fatigue's in one or two of the players. So I'll really take that into consideration, but I'll also be measuring character. How can you measure character? You've got to ask the manager, who can you trust, who can you rely on? And at the moment, there's certainly 11 that have proved I can trust and rely on them. One change, making 12 in gold, coming in for Amari. And then the ones that have come off the bench have seen the team over the line. The other guys have trained, it has to be said, like men possessed. So they commit into the cause off the field of play, which the Kidderminster Harriers fans won't be seeing. But I'm guaranteeing you, we can put a team out with 9 or 10 changes on Saturday, and they'll commit to the badge, to the cause, to the club. So am I going to be making that many changes? Probably not, but there probably will be one or two.